morning and happy Monday. We are back with Reaper Pro Tips of me, your host, Ann, Disembodied Hands, Queenie, Disembodied Beard, John, and everybody who wasn't washed away. Yes, in the Hurricane storm. Was it actually a hurricane? I didn't actually update myself. Nowhere near you. Yes. All right. Doggo sighting. Yeah. The Kiki. The Kiki is like annoyed that we're back to work days. Kiki's probably more annoyed when we go back to work than David and I are. She doesn't have her nice long mornings with Daddy at the park playing ball. But yeah. Last time there was very, very good Twistoma. Much appreciated. I mentioned it in my own stream. But yes, I had a very good holiday weekend. I was super glad that I took Friday off. It was really relaxing and nice. It let me reset and get some, time to regenerate my energy. So that's great. But yeah, last time a hurricane made landfall in Texas, it didn't, we had a little bit of storminess, like, hit Denton, but it was, like, minor, as I recall. We had a hurricane party, actually, when it happened. But it was worse down by the coasts. Okay, so let's see here. Orc Lady. I went out last night just for a mile run and bested my time again, so I am hopeful that I will do decently at the actual 5K, which is in just less than 3 weeks. Alright, what do I want to do today? I think I'm going to go black with the shirt, black with the boots, and maybe a dark blue gray with the trousers. Yeah, I think that sounds good. I wanted her very much to be roguey. She's still going to be very roguely. I'm going to go straight with black this time. But we'll highlight it with a bit of blue liner and white. And I'll probably do the same with her hair. I thought about going indigo, but I don't think I want to mess around with that. I think I want to go... I used to do a color scheme that was blue, gray, olive green, and red, like this kind of red, and I really liked that color scheme. I haven't done it in a while, so I think I'm going to do that for this. But yeah, it was a good weekend. I was happy with my run last night. 13 minutes, 25 seconds for the mile. So I won't be able to necessarily keep that. I was running faster on purpose, and because I knew it was only a mile. So I doubt I can keep that pace up for the entirety of the 5K. But it is good that I can run faster without hurting myself. So I'll probably do a different thing tonight at the track. It made landfall as a Cat 1, but yeah. Yeah, right. Oh, yeah. Houston is the one that gets hit. It's a port, so right on the ocean. But yeah, by the time the last one, like, it was just like little, like those tendrils that reach out from the central ball, like a tendril swept over it, and it was a little rainier, as I recall, a little cloudier than normal. But other than that, they don't really hit around Reaper. It's a lot of land to cover for a storm. Just going to use my standard black here. Just like with gray, if you want, you can put a little bit of extra stuff in your black, or you can hand mix it like we did with the James Gurney thing by using walnut and ultramarine or russet brown and ultramarine. But today I think I'm just going to go straight with the base coat and then highlight it with a little bit of blue. Bluish gray. This will be a good week. It's one of my, it's my only, like, training week like that isn't disrupted before the marathon or before the 5K. Because next weekend, is it next weekend? Yeah, not this coming weekend, but next weekend I am out on Friday for the puppy evaluation. Actually, I haven't checked on those puppies recently. Let's see here. Let's see here. Kiki's nieces and nephew. They are, I think, 6 weeks. Yep. Oh, that's a handsome one. I like this one. I don't know which collar color that is though. So these are Kiki's little nieces and nephew. I really like that one. I had to figure out what collar color that one is. Oh, there's Mama and Baby. They're so cute. That one's got the big-eyed look. Big fuzzballs. Oh, little fat tails. Very cute. Very cute. And there's the last one. There's a little white bib. All right. Yeah, they're very cute. I just like this one, this fat-faced one. I'm into that one. That's my fave. That's my pick, as they say. Little wolf. They're adorable, though. Mindio is... Oh. Uh-oh. There you go, guys. You get puppy action this morning. Puppy action. Om nom. Om nom. They're very cute at that age. Super duper cute. Oh no! In the scale. Getting weighed. We have to weigh them. You weigh them every week to make sure they're gaining weight, because if they're not, then it's a sign either that you need to feed them more. It can be also a sign of something health-wise going on. Oh, big fat face. I love the big squish face. Big squish face is my favorite. All right, cute. Very cute. I want to see. Oh, it's a girl. That one that I like, the squish face. Oh, yellow girl. All right, yellow girl's my fave. Yeah, I have a favorite. I may change my mind after I get there, but yellow girl has a beautiful face. Oh no. No, these are Kiki's nieces and nephews. I would never get these, even if I was going to get another puppy slayer, I would never get one of these because they're too closely related to Kiki. The only relative I would want of a Kiki is if I kept one of Kiki's puppies, if she has any. 70-pound lapdog, that's what mine is. 77-pound lapdog. But no, I'm going to do the puppy evaluation on this one, Slayer, in 2 weeks. So I'll be out on that Friday. The 19th. I'm going to be on a plane. And of course it's Indianapolis from the West Coast, so of course it's a one-stop. Was very relieved to get our flights for ReaperCon yesterday and not have them. We've forgotten to get them earlier, so we were lucky to be able to get non-stops and not too expensive. Though I had to yell at David. I'm like, don't you dare book that flight, because he was about to. He always looks on Google Flights to see what's the best, and then sometimes he books there, and I'm like, no, that's an American flight. I could get miles for that. He just never thinks of miles. I always think of miles. He never thinks of miles because he has the money to just pay to go on trips whatever he wants, no matter what the price is. I always think of miles because I don't have a lot of money, And I like getting a free airline ticket. All right. So, yes, black is a dead color. Actual, like, carbon black. So, true black, pure black, any of the blacks. But you can counteract that by highlighting it with colors. So, my hope is that with having black hair, the skin tone will look lighter. Being very careful, brushing around the face. Yeah, I used to have a crap ton of miles. I've slowly gone through them as I have been existing in the not a real job state. And as we get more and more of this white primer filled in, we'll get more of a sense for how light or dark everything actually looks. Since I'm going with a lot of dark colors on her because I want her to very much be a rogue, to feel like a rogue. Probably the skin and the steel of her weapon are going to be the brightest things. Just be very careful as you're going around the face. It applies, no, coal black it has color in it. Any black that you can see has color in it, Smallish Sam, is not a dead black. It's just that actual, like, carbon black pigment, coal black, lamp black, it is just a carbon pigment. It's a dead color. It has no life in it. And so, anything that you can look at, like coal black, and see that there is color in it, doesn't apply to it. But pure black is absolutely a dead color, so if you want it to look at all interesting, you need to highlight it with a little bit of something or add a little bit of color into it. Unless you just want whatever you're painting it, if you want that thing to disappear, then great. But it just doesn't look at all like lifelike. It's not a lively color. I'm surprised about that, Twisted Oma, because they've got outlets and plugins on planes, so I'm not sure how you power your equipment. But I would think they'd be able to hook you up with whatever you needed, if you needed to fly somewhere. It's more that the reason dead is bad is that it's not necessarily bad, but if it's a dead color, essentially the eye just glances off of it. So if there's any details that you want to attract attention to, but you want to paint it black, Sam, then you need to highlight those details with something other than just like a flat gray or it's just adding in color. It's why a lot of black hair gets highlighted with blue. Both because it's, the normal color you'd get in sky reflection in the shade. And also because if you try to highlight it with gray, it just looks dull. It looks not good. So essentially, when you paint something pure black, you're telling the viewer to ignore it. And if your intention is not to do that, then it needs to be highlighted in order to bring attention to it. Coal black has blue and green in it, to be precise. It's technically a black teal. We've got the hair kind of butting up against the shirt, and I wanted the shirt to be black, but now I'm rethinking. I'm wondering if I should make the leather black instead and take the shirt to that blue-gray that I was thinking. Maybe I will. I'll do the boots. And the boots technically have an overcover, and then there's boots underneath this black sleeve, black armor. Yeah, when you paint something black, you're telling the viewer to ignore it. So if you're trying to paint a model and some of the important parts are you plan them to be black, then you'll want to either mix colors into your black to make it more interesting, or just mix it outright like we did on the our James Gurney experiment with the OSL guy. Or you'll want to highlight it, or you can do both. You'll want to highlight it with something that has color in it so that it brings it back to life. But especially when you use a gray to highlight something, if that gray is flat, it looks wrong if there's color elsewhere on the figure. Because usually you only see gray highlights on an overcast day, and chances are you're not painting the entire model that way. And so that's why it looks off. Yep. Yeah, that's why pure black is, that's why a lot of frames are black, right? A basic frame for a picture is most often black. If it's not black, it's often like a dark brown, which is the next best thing. It's a neutral. It's not going to clash with anything. There's a lot of people who like silver and gold frames, but I find them mostly too overdone. They often distract from the picture for me. So we're going to block in the black down here, and then I'll make that decision about how I'm going to be doing the shirt versus the belts. They need to be different colors. If you want to do it that way, you can. You just need to then never mix in pure white for your highlights on anything. Just mix in a light gray. Sam, that will shift everything to gray. And you will get that effect. But you'll, with dead things, you want to usually mute them down anyway. Unless there's a lot of ghosts and spirits, then you may be in trouble just because usually those are in more vibrant colors. Although you could go with a blue-gray for them. I used to paint ghosts in blue-gray and it works just fine. Don't plug into plain outlets. I don't know. I mean, you'd have to call and find out, right? Twistedoma. I just like to say if you care about it, if you actually are interested, it never hurts to call and find out. And then when you make your, I'd probably book via phone instead of online, so you can tell the person what you need. But yeah, I just never assume. You may be right. Maybe they wouldn't be able to do it, but you may be wrong, and you may be able to actually take the plane somewhere. Depends on how much you care. I just often find that I'm wrong about that kind of thing, especially in the modern day and age. I'm always like, oh no, they won't let us do that. And then David's like, yes, they will. And he like finds out. He's like, here it is. Here's the fine print. And I'm like, oh, oops. I have a lot of misconceptions about travel that I've been carrying around since I was a kid for some reason. But yeah, if there's no need for you to fly, then that makes sense. But if you ever think there might be, you could always find out. I know that you like to travel, and you've talked about it before. And it just seems like with your limited range on your stuff that flying might be better if it's shorter for you, if you can manage it. But yeah, again, it's up to you. All right, so let's figure it out. I have to look kind of at the sections of things. So these gloves she's wearing are pretty much like one piece. They've got straps holding them on. I could probably do those in red, actually. And then there's metal on the back, looks like. And lacings. We could do the lacings in red, and that might be nicer. I think I want to do blue-gray on that, black on the straps, I think. My next step on my running is to push to see if I can, to push the time that I'm running higher. So now I'm doing 40 seconds running, 30 seconds walking, and I'm going to push it to 45 this week. 45 running, 30 walking. And I'm going to keep the walking at 30 and keep pushing it up and try to get to, I would like to get to a minute running, 30 seconds walking by the time of the 5K. Which will also speed up my time. We're taking Kiki to a party on Sunday. It's the post Kubla Khan party that Michael Kleiman is putting on. And we asked if we could bring her because I didn't want to leave her in a hot house all alone for a long day, because he's in Napa. And that's almost like it's an hour and 45 minutes each way for us. So if we're going to go, we have to bring Keeks. Because it's just too, otherwise it's just too long for her. I don't like to leave her alone for more than 3 or 4 hours, and she hates it, so. I see, 1.5 times the power you would need. 1.5 times the power if you had a 5-hour flight, that you would need 7.5 hours of battery. Yes. Yeah, for sure. I can see why that would be a pain, Twistedoma. Lots of what ifs. Mm-hmm. Though you're in Texas, so it takes a bit to get a 5-hour flight anywhere from Texas. I mean, out here, I get lots of I can't get anywhere anymore. I miss being in the Midwest. I miss being near O'Hare or DFW because every flight seems so short from there compared to what I have from out here on the West Coast. Like I had to get a one stop going home to Wisconsin for August. I had to get a one stop going to Indianapolis for this dog thing of who's it. Ha, yep. Yep, we're taking Kiki with us up there. She'll get to drive up, and I'll bring our soft crate in case she needs you know, an out time. My big worry is just the weather. It's gonna be hot. Um, so I think I'll bring my little fan. I might order a battery powered fan for her, like people used to have at dog shows. Something to blow air on her if she has to like go in her crate. We don't have a plug. Or I'll get a USB. A lot of USB these days. Alright, so those straps looking good. Yeah, the more I look at it, the more I'm like, you know, doing the straps in black wouldn't be a bad idea. And it lets me avoid having the braid right up against the black of the shirt there. It'll touch the leather here a little bit, but that's not a big deal. I mean, I could have gotten the dog sitter, but for one half of a day, it just never seems like worth it. Plus, it was just way too late to actually get him. Though I'm rethinking about not going to Adepticon because David reminded me it's in Milwaukee this time. They moved it because Schaumburg wasn't big enough anymore. So now they're on the old Gen Con site, guys. Which is just like fraught with memories for me. I was going to Gen Con when it was still in Milwaukee. So now I'm tempted to go because, you know, with my family there in that area, it becomes a family trip then. Not just a miniatures trip. But on the other hand, like, if I decide I'm going, like, I can almost just feel the pressure to get something done, and right now I'm having fun having zero pressure. So I don't know if I care enough. I may skip it anyway. It'll be in Milwaukee again the next year, so presumably from here on out until they get so big that they have to go to like Indianapolis. And I'm really not going to feel like traveling after Hawaii, probably. I'm going to feel like having time at home. Alrighty. And then there's a belt under here. Alright. I'm going to black this in and we'll see how it looks. I haven't done black leather on straps for a while, actually. We almost always tend to default to a dark brown, so I'll have to make these a little different. A lot of black today. It's the downside of painting rogues and assassins, right? I'm not going to put as much bling on her. So I'm going to actually blacken everything and not leave borders on the, even though there is a sculpted trim on that bag. I may leave a little bit of lighter leather around her like armored skirt here and up at the edges up here, but we'll see. Oh, that's nice. That's nice, Turgeon. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you like miniatures, it's a great con to go to. Make sure and go and look at the competitions. You can look at the Golden Demon stuff, and also, like, Creature Caster always has their really nice... Their stuff gets a lot of good entries because they have really generous prizes. The Privateer Press competition might still be going by then. I'm never sure if they're going to keep doing it since their entries haven't been as high as you'd like to see. But yeah, that's great that it's close to you. David will be there for sure because he's going to have a lot of Golden Demon entries. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be in any shape to travel more after that. I think I'm going to want to bunker down and write because it's going to be... It's going to be prime writing season is what it's going to be. Winter and spring. Fall, winter, spring. And then I like to not write as much over the summer. I did not get that break this year. Well, I guess I do now. Since I finished the book in June, I actually do get to relax a little bit. Until I have that. Since editing isn't nearly as demanding. It still requires work, but since I've actually gotten the creative work all done, it's a lot more relaxing, I find. Oops, got a little blurf on the skin there. There we go. 16-hour flight. Yikes! That's a bit much. 16-hour flight. Must be connecting. Because, I mean, when I was flying from Chicago to the UK, it was more like an 8 or 9. You could buy at least 4 GW minis for that. Alright, and we're going to have straps down here that we can't make black because we've just made the boot black. So those will probably have to be off color. But we'll see. Like I said, I might go with a lighter leather around the border of this, more of a golden leather around the border of this just to spice things up, and so I can maybe use that color down here. I need to get this belt and that pouch. And we've got rope, of course, because every good adventurer has rope. That was something I really appreciated about my little D&D books that I was reading. Is that one of the characters is like in the first book and I think it's just the first book. She's just like, we never have enough rope. Why do we never bring rope with us? Of course, that's everybody, you know, the 50 feet of rope. The standard dungeon kit. Yeah. Although I should already have a book underway by the time Nano hits this time. Or, depending on what I choose to write in early fall, I may be able to finish that and start 3 Favors for Nano. That's what I was kind of thinking, is that I'd at least start 3 Favors for Nano. I should have it outlined by then and make that my nano project. I used to only write seasonally. I used to write in the fall and winter, and then as spring kicked in, my writing impetus would slack off, and I wouldn't write at all in the summer. But as I want to be, you know, I want to start actually having more success as a writer. That means getting more books out. So I've this past year has been pretty much ignoring that old system and just continuing to write. Except when I'm editing. For me, it's very, very difficult. I don't think I could actually I don't think I can do both, and do what I feel is my best, because editing also involves me thinking a lot about like character motivation, because I need to make sure that I'm nailing that in the edit. That's one of the things I tend to correct the most in editing. When I'm writing, I just let my characters flail all about and have all sorts of motivations. But as I'm editing, I want to tighten those motivations up, because there's going to be one main thing they want. Even if there's other trouble, there's always one main piece of trouble to address. And I let them flail around when I'm doing the rough draft, because it lets me figure out what that is. Because, you know, with all these characters, they've all got more than one, you know, thing going on. Especially the complicated ones like Sadis. So figuring out what the primary problem is in the book, and then making sure to write to support that, edit to support that, is important. Alright. It's lots of black. She feels like a proper rogue now, though, because she's like got all this dark stuff on her. 50 feet of rope, and I know how to use it, yes. Oh, rope is useless in battle. That's not D&D. I'm sorry, Baldur's Gate, but if you have made rope useless, maybe it's not that it's useless. Maybe it's that you can't sell it because everybody knows that to have their rope, and so nobody wants it because they all have rope already. Still, it's kind of sad they didn't lean into that meme. Like, when you've got a perfectly good meme, lean into it. Hello, Iffy. Look at that. 59 months. That means you're almost to your quintuple subiversary. I get to, like... Or pentuple. Quintuple pen. I like quintuple. Quintuple subiversary. That's going to be hard. That's going to be a hard one to sing. But thank you. So I'm going to take my blue liner, and I'm going to grab a couple drops of that, and I'm going to drop some white into it and see what kind of a blue I can get and decide if that's the blue I want. You got distracted chasing squirrels. That's fair. Yo, Roger. Alright, I had to unplug my blue liner as it was very recalcitrant. Yeah, yeah. It's my standard half-orc, is what it is. It's what I like to do when I've got to paint a half-orc. I like it to be green because it's orky, but I like it to be mixed with normal human skin tones. Yeah, that's one thing I don't miss now that I'm not really running games anymore. Is unruly players. Although I had a good group in Texas. Small group, but good group. Oop. Alrighty, so it's not a very blue gray. It is blue. So it's muted down. If I wanted it a little brighter, then I would use, I could always add in something like Nightmare Black or Corporeal Shadow. As I recall, Corporeal Shadow is pretty darn blue too. Oh, D&D is like thoroughly grounded and goofy. Never let your players be the most chaotic thing at the table. That's funny. I'm gonna put a little corporeal in there. Ah. There's always a bit of goofiness in D&D. Yeah, I think we'll go with that. Although I have to question if I do, because that's probably the color I want to use to highlight my leather as well. So let's see how that works. First we'll color in the things we want to color this. Oh yeah. I haven't run for teenagers since I was a teenager. Yeah. Yeah, you're lucky then, Sam. Some players understand that. Some players understand that if we want this game to continue, DM must stay happy. But then there are plenty of players that are not that enlightened. I'm happier writing my books, I think. It takes the same creative energy. I'm going to take the black and use the fact that it says don't look here to paint the underside of this. Morning, Thormel. Yeah, it's true. Family dramas are the worst. Oh, I didn't hit part of the hair up here. Got distracted. Let's see a couple places where I've missed some stuff. Okay, let's get this underside area. So that essentially will just look like a shadow. If that's what you enjoy, Thormel, then that's what you should enjoy. I think my problem was that I always wanted to tell a story, and players are great at undermining and running stories off the rails. So much as I understood this and I worked with it as a GM, I was actually happiest running one-on-one games or one-on-one sessions with players, because without the group, we got a lot better role-playing out of it. And I felt like the story was better. But, I mean, that's why I'm a writer now and not a GM anymore. Oh, yes. Yep. Yeah. That player needs to be smacked upside the head and told, if you want your other GM to keep running, humans are bad about comparisonitis as it is. When you shove it into their face, then they get even worse. Oh, Kuro, I can't believe that people meet you to hate you. I mean, maybe they hate your sparkly Tyranids, but that doesn't mean they hate you as a person. Just kind of looking around to see where I might have forgotten to hit any undersides of straps or things. Yeah, it sounds like that player has some painting to do. I agree, Polly. That's just someone who has no social, it has no EQ, as they say. I would have kicked that player out, or at least said, if you're going to keep reminding me of that, you can leave the game. Yeah, if they're not good at miniatures, I feel for those people. I mean, some people are just not interested in painting, and that's cool, that's fine. Whether because they don't have an aptitude for it or they just don't enjoy it. Alright, let's get the blue out here on this area. I'm going to paint all around, including these metal plates. I'm going to paint it all the blue-gray, because I can always paint, you just use that as a base coat for whatever metal color I want to put over the top of it. Or if I decide to do, I haven't decided whether I'm doing NMM or metallics on this one. Maybe we'll do metallics. Speaking of metallics, should be finishing up my editing on my video today for the Patreon. I have to do the companion PDF, but then the $5 PDF this month, I actually did get my Army Painter metallics, finally, the new ones. And I will be running those through their paces and doing a write-up on my opinion for this month's color workshop, the $5 level. Although I did notice, to my bemusement, that they did copy a lot of GW colors for their metallics for this set. And I know because I had a bunch of GW metallics sitting on my table for when I work on Critter. So I'm going to be doing that with metallics. We're okay, Richard. It's the ones they just came out with, Kuro. The aluminum flakes. I can go look at the box in a minute. I'll be throwing an email to you beta reader people, or a Discord message in Kuro's case. As I get further into my editing on this novel, probably just a bit later this month, I'm going to see. I have a lot of Patreon to catch up on this week thanks to the holiday, but I should be steadily working on the editing as well. So once I get past the halfway point, I'm going to have a much better idea of how much longer it'll take me to finish my edit, and then it goes to you guys. So I'll touch base to find out what format you want it in. I can, if you want, put it in Kindle format and put it on BookFunnel for you. Or we can just do PDF or Word, it doesn't matter. I don't know, let me go check. 1 second, since I did the one hand. I will put the model down and go and see which set it is. It is the brand new one that just came out. I don't know anything other than that. Yeah, it's the Fanatic Metallics one. I got it purely because they were supposed to be aluminum flakes, and there aren't any other companies doing colored aluminum flakes that I know of on the market right now. And I'm interested to see, I'm going to be testing coverage, I'm going to be testing how well they can still do details, bold details if they are being applied in very thin lines and small dots, which is where most metallics fall down. But what you need them, that's what you need them to do if you're going to use them for things like microabrasions and scratches on shaded metallics, weathered metallics. I'm going to be testing how they thin. Although I'm pretty sure I know what the answer to that is going to be, but I'll test it anyway. Let's see how smooth they are. We're going to see how well they take a wash, since washes are still very useful on shaded metallics when you're weathering them. But some shaded metallic bases don't take washes very well. Oh yeah, this is Larry Elmore. It is the companion Dungeons and Dragons box set. The original artwork was my favorite for a very long time, so I got a print from Larry when I was at Gen Con, and he signed it for me. I was working for Dark Sword painting his stuff at the time, so it got personalized. Yeah, one of the perks of working for Jim at Dark Sword was we'd go out for sushi at Gen Con, and one of the times Larry went with us, actually. So I got to hang out with Larry eating sushi with Jim. And none of ours are envious at all, by the way, yes. Yeah. Yep. Yes, sushi and Larry, exactly. I will say, he's a dirty old man, but he's a very talented dirty old man. His if you get his the big set of books that he did, I think kickstarted a while back, kind of tell his life story. He had an interesting childhood. I'm reading a lot of memoir lately, though, so. But I joke, and Larry's a nice guy too. He was always really nice to me when I came up to the booth, since he knew I was working for Jim, and he liked the paint jobs that I'd done on his models. He liked that I did naturalism and I didn't make them cartoony, which, totally made me totally happy. So made my day. Have most of their clothes on most of the time, right? He just loves to draw the female form, but then I love to paint the female form, so I really can't say anything bad. It just makes me a dirty old woman, I guess. I think he'd be fine on dragons. He just, it was the style of the time to be very pop, very GW in paint jobs for 28 millimeter. And Larry's paintings aren't that, right? Part of why they're so awesome is that they're naturalistic. They feel natural. They feel like they could actually be happening, right? It's not stylized or too cartoony. And so he just appreciated that I painted it that way, right? That I recognized that and painted his work like he painted it. So, but I think he appreciates our work, period. Just because he had a naturalistic, preference for his own miniatures doesn't mean that he wouldn't appreciate different art styles on other miniatures, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So as we cover up more and more of this white, we'll get a better feel for the lights and darks on this piece. Because the white will stop blowing out our conceptualization of what color everything else is. But yeah, I mean, this is a very naturalistic model too. It's just the way I like to paint. I think I'm going to make these straps blue actually down here. There we go. Yes, Larry definitely TSRs Frazetta. I had forgotten that Frank Frazetta did stuff for Mad Magazine, but James Gurney had a post on his Substack about the Mad Magazine exhibition at his local art gallery, and it included Frazetta work. Apparently, even Norman Rockwell was approached by Mad Magazine to do a piece. And he was going to do it, but apparently the negotiations fell through. Sure, Quinny. It was an interesting story. Alrighty. I might use corporeal shadow to shade this, actually. Kind of thinking about it. Right now I'm just touching up pieces where I can see that I've missed bits. Yeah. And I can do red there, red on the strings. I'm going to get out some white to do the laces in white so that I can essentially cue myself to realize I want to do red. Hello, Laurel. Thank you for the raid. We are working on this Half-Orc Rogue. Mostly I'm blocking in colors today, just trying to figure out, you know, what colors I wanted to use and filling in all that white primer that we had on the underside. Our mod just stepped away, so she should give you a shout out the minute she gets back. Oh, hello, Van. You can abandon us for your partner stream. Can you do the shout out, Korniko, to Laurel? Thank you. Yeah, this is Reaper. We do all Reaper on this particular show. So this is the Half-Orc Rogue figure. But yeah, she's coming out nice. The skin is really the only part. The skin and the red are the parts that I've finished, quote unquote. Now today I just wanted to block in and see. I think it's, the command is exclamation point shout out. Crow having actually to be a mod. Yeah, bye, Van. I see. So you need to shout out and then his name, I think. There we go. Zachariah is there for you, Kuro. So yeah, it's exclamation point shout out and then L_O_R_. It should fill it in. You're getting some mod training today, Kuro. I am going to choose rich leather for this and see if I like it. You stay and lurk. Thanks, Laura. Yeah, we do, for those who are still here from the raid, we do a rotation of 6 different models. We just finished one, so I'll be replacing this one soon when we get back around to her. And we're getting close to finished on a bunch of them right now, so we'll be flipping new models into the rotation. It's okay, Koro. You can do it, Kuroniko. You can do it. I know you can do it. It's exclamation point. You could do this. Don't do the carrot marks with the name. Like Zachariah said there, just do the name. So you can do exclamation point, shout out, space, L_O_R_O. You can do it. I have faith in you. You can manage it. You're up for this. Yeah! Perfect! You did it! Yay! Good job. You just got mod experience. You may have gotten second level. Yeah. There you go. Now you know. Now you know you can do it. Up to level 0 now. No. If you were a level 0 townsfolk before, then I think that now you're a level 1 mod. Level 1 mod knows how to give a shout out. We can remind her. Great, Twisted Elma. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's nice, Twisted Elma. Yeah. That sounds like a great goal. And you'll feel so good, because you'll be able to clear out some clutter. I always feel good when I clear out some clutter. Even David last night was like, have you seen my flyers? And I'm like, honey, I never ever take your tools off your desk. You know it's there. And he's looking at his desk. It's just this slew of crap. And he's like, I guess I have to clean my desk. So rich leather is very vibrant color. And so I'm actually going to put a drop of NMM Gold Shadow in there. Oh, you have a cheap linky thing, but you were panicking too much to use it. No, it was good, Quindy. Kuro had to actually do something. You're so ultra confident that normally Kuro doesn't have to do anything. So Kuro had to do a shout out. It was good. She leveled up. We made the Final Fantasy music and everything. Alrighty. I've got essentially a slightly darker version now of the rich leather. I'm going to try to... It looks really vibrant when it's wet, but I'm hoping it's going to dull down and give me a good kind of like golden leather, darker golden leather color. I'm going to try that on the outside of this. And I'm thinking... Let me get in focus here. I'm thinking I might do metallics on this. I don't know because these buckles are very small. But maybe. Yeah, if you're going to level up, you have to have the Final Fantasy music. It's obligatory. It's still a little bit translucent because rich leather tends to be, so I'll have to put 2 coats on. And then I'll also base coat the rope in the same color, but the rope will be taken up a lot lighter. That's funny, Gurniko. You could probably teach them in 2 sections. It could be do do do. Could be 1 and do 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 do. You kind of need do 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 do. I don't know. I don't know how long Bird's like memory is for notes. So one problem here is that this leather color is the same value as the skin tone, right, as it stands. So I'll need to make the leather a little bit lighter with highlights around the edges so that it stands out. Otherwise it'll kind of blend into the skin there. Yeah, you give it to them in sections. That's funny. I had it right. That makes sense. It's how you train dogs a complex maneuver. You break it down into smaller sections and you teach them each step. So now I want to know if there's a blackbird out there imitating Beyonce's Put a Ring on It. All the single ladies. Because that's got to be a ringtone. I'm sure nowadays it's more Taylor, or as much Taylor Swift as Beyonce, but I just picked up a Beyonce song the other day on my phone. So since we've got this, we can at least use it as a base coat. Even though if I'm going to use metallics, I can still base coat with a color I would use for NMM, as long as it's darker, because I'm going to want something to put the metallics over the top of anyway. We are at 57. I'm going to be singing an awful lot of quintuple subversaries coming up. I can see this. I can see it looming on my horizon. We've been doing this a long time, folks. Yeah, I like that gold color. I think it's working well. Hello. Uchiki? Uchiki. Uchucky. However you say your name, welcome. I'm Ann. This is Reaper Miniatures channel. We're working on a Reaper Half-Orc Rogue today. Mostly I'm blocking in colors. This is our model today. Blocking in colors, trying to figure out what I'm all doing so that I have my colors down in a pleasing manner before I start highlighting and shading. I like to block in to make sure that I like my color composition. So I have a few more things to do. They're musically inclined, huh? They're like, humans are boring unless they have songs. You know, I have to agree with them on that. Humans are pretty boring. So I realized today as I was blocking out my remaining run training sessions before my first 5K that I'm going to need a new goal. Like, after this 5K is over, where's my motivation? I'm going to have to find a new race, a 5K race to train for. Maybe I'll be smart and I'll make it out more than 2 months this time. Since I didn't really have, like, it would have been nice to get up to a point where I could run the whole thing, right? No, I want to first I have to get to the point where I can run an entire, and not just run walk it. I need to run an entire 5K. Yeah, another 5. That's exactly it, Slayer. That's what I want. But I need to find that 5K. I haven't looked around to see what's coming up in the area. I'm certain that there are races throughout the year, especially with our climate. But all right, I'm going to put a second coat on this because, as I mentioned, this color can be a little transparent. So if I want a good solid coat of color, I'm just going to put a quick second layer on. I used to use that Kuro, but I didn't like it as much as I like the Run Walk Run. And the reason is that the Run Walk Run gives me more frequent walk breaks, and I can choose to tune it and make myself progress very slowly if I want to. I actually got validation for that yesterday. There's an inspiration book out there that gives the stories of a lot of masters runners, so runners over 50. And there's one lady who went from record making runner to coaching, and that's how she's like, she coaches a lot of older people who are really unfit and really just need to do something to improve their quality of life. And she uses the same method I'm doing, which is, start with walking, start interspersing running, but don't make it mandatory as far as how you increase those segments, right? Because what I found with my problem with Couch to 5K is that it went up too fast, essentially, for me. So you start out doing 30 seconds, but then you go to a minute. And then you go to a minute and a half. It's very large. 30 seconds is a long time when you're unfit, right? So this whole thing that I'm doing now, where it's run, walk, run, and I get to set my intervals to what's comfortable, what feels good, and I can, if I want to, I can just go up 5 seconds every time I go to the track on my runs. And that's what I've been doing. It's 5 seconds actually a week. My goal was just to get to being able to run around a minute and then walk 30 seconds when it comes time for the 5K, right? So although I like the Couch to 5K app, I found that it progressed too fast for me at the fitness level I was at, which was not fit at all, right? And even now, I think that's just too much of a jump. I think that if you have some fitness out the gate, that Couch to 5K can be great, because if you have some fitness out the gate, then you're going to get bored with the 30 seconds, right? You're going to be like, no, I can do more than this. But if you are a really sedentary person who's overweight, going from 30 seconds to a minute is just too much, I think. For me, definitely, it was too much. You became part of the lesson. That's good, green users. So this looks pretty good. I'm going to put a line between these guys. Since I have my black, I can use it for a liner. On a dark model, using black for your liner color isn't as cartoony. It doesn't come across as cartoony as much because you've got so many dark colors. So since I've got my black here, I'm going to use it for lining. Especially once I start bringing in shadows on some of these areas. I'm going to line around the fingers. Oh, bye, Crowley. Yeah, I hope you have a great day too. But yeah, I think I would recommend this gradual approach to running, the run, walk, run, to anybody I knew who was unfit but wanted to become more fit. Because even walking is enough, and then when you feel like you've gotten in pretty decent walking shape, almost anybody can, do a real slow jog for 5 seconds, right? You could start with 5 seconds, you could start with 10, and just slowly work up and build. And as you do that, you're burning more calories, so hopefully you're losing weight and you can continue progressing at your own pace. I'm not in a hurry. I'm just having fun. And I want to keep having fun. So I don't want to push it to the point where I feel like I'm dying. I'm just glad to see that my times are getting faster and faster and faster, because for me that's good. It was swearing at you. Dang human. Why are you interfering? This is what I tell you about young'un. These dang humans. Well, there are plenty of times that I say these dang humans, too. Alright. I'm just trying to get these little... Essentially, I'm painting over these laces in black. Because then I can paint over them in white, and they'll already be lined. So you paint a little extra... And then when you go over it, you go in with a really thin with your white. And I'll go over it a couple of times because I want to put red over this, remember. So I want the white to be pretty bold on this interior wrist area. You're just trying to become a druid, aren't you, Kuroniko? You might be a level 1 mod, but you're like a level 15 druid. Though you can't be that high because you don't have shapeshift yet, so... There we go. Yeah, if you're just following and you're not actively like hurting or chasing, then it was probably just rolling its crow eyes at you. I think SSC is pretty impressive. You have Ranger, not Druid, huh? Do you have a bow or do you dual wield? You want a crow friend? Who's got your instructor? Oops. Yeah, good. Keep training your animal companion there, Zachariah. Wow. Yeah. Thormel. Channeling your inner Disney princess. I always say hello to the hummingbirds in my neighborhood, but they're always very wary. The best one was the one when Kiki was a puppy that hovered like just over her head when she was like getting up on her hind legs to try to sniff it. That was our closest encounter with a hummingbird. That was really cool. She's like, that thing is up there and I want to sniff it. I was just taking a look at her. I would be afraid of like bringing food for them a lot and then forgetting one day and having them cuss me out. Hmm. Yeah, hummingbirds are pretty cool. Oh, it's actually wow, time flew. Like I glanced at the clock and I still had 10 minutes. And then I glanced at the clock and it was like we lost like 20 minutes. Time flies when you're base coating, people. I was just going to do the edge on that bag. So I'm going to do it and then we can call it. Zachariah has grackles, and those will mob you as well. I think grackles are our magpies. The cool birds. Texas has a crap ton of cool birds. Korniko, you would enjoy it. My favorite are the scissor-tail swallows and the peregrine falcons, and which are rare. And then I think the one I like the best that are common are the mockingbird. We have mockingbirds in Texas. Yeah, I like the scissor-tails were always my favorite. Yeah, grackles. Yeah, they look like it, right? All right, just a little bit of lining there, and I think we'll call it right about there. So we got most of it. I like the color harmony thus far. It's looking okay. I need to do some silver. We need to bring in some more red. I need to figure out what the boots are going to be. Probably dark brown. Yeah, Texas has a lot of really cool birds. I really wanted a bird feeder in Texas, but I never got one. Now I have one here, and we don't have that many cool birds. I forgot to do the laces here, but we can do them next time. But yeah, we're getting there. Oh no. It usually imitates a car alarm. That's great. Not so great for you. We don't get many car alarms in my neighborhoods. The birds here don't imitate them. I'm surprised that the ones in our backyard don't imitate Taylor Swift, though, with how much David plays it. Alrighty. It is now time to end the stream. Yay, Rhonda. Good deal. Everybody hang out with Rhonda and make her feel loved, please. And tomorrow, we will be basing. We're going to paint Halfling Space. And we're going to keep working on Giant Mouseling Space. Building it up and making it have more personality and stuff. I think I want to do something on top of that stone that makes it look like a tombstone. That is my thought anyway. All right, folks. That be where I leave you. I need to get up and get my blood moving because I'm sitting here yawning. Felt like I did not get great sleep last night. But thank you all for tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow morning. And yes, thank you, Quindy, for herding the cats. And I hope you all have a great one. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.